tonight. Join us for 5 episodes that we've got that, well, let's just say we couldn't promote them because there was some hot and juicy stuff that was said on them. So we're going to talk a little bit about spooky things. Lots of different things that involve art, even some things that involve the law. But don't forget, it's really important for you to remember your physical health. That's right, fitness. So come on in and let's show you what we couldn't promote.
Welcome to the Dayton Approved Podcast with Frank O'Neill. This is where the local Dayton businesses get a spotlight.
Yeah. Now, I remember you were saying in the pre-show in 2013, you had, a pretty serious ordeal that happened. That really was an influence as well at the same time.
True. So I guess the time I started getting into fitness would have been a year or two before that, technically, because I was already into it before that wreck happened.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So tell us about that.
So, it was a high-speed car accident. There was a cop, and it was a highway patrol officer right in Beaver Creek. I was going down 35, and me and my brother were in the car, and he was starting to turn off of 35 onto Shakertown, which, for probably we're part of the reason that intersection doesn't exist anymore. But the cop, we know he was going way over 100. At least, and he was able to slow down, we estimated, to around 100 at the time of impact. So he slammed into us, T-boned us. My brother was thrown from the car, a lot of road rash, broken neck. And we're both doing fine now, by the way.
Yeah,
but,
thank goodness.
And then the cop hit on my side. I had some issues with my hip and shoulder, but the only big issues I had was lacerated spleen, broken jaw. And then because of the spleen, I wasn't allowed to work out for a while. I had a time of inactivity.
Right.
So during that time, I developed scapular dyskinesis and piriformis syndrome.
Oh, man.
Which are two of the top issues that when you have clients coming in with hip or shoulder pain, those are two of the top issues that some of my clients deal with. So when they come in and they have this issue, I can be like, yeah, I know how to help.
Exactly.
It's really helpful.
You got experience.
Yeah. So that got me really involved with corrective exercise in my business for a good long time. And even today, even though that's not my primary focus anymore, it does help me when these clients have aches and pains and things they're trying to get past. One of the guys who I helped with, he had debilitating back pain due to doing flooring for years. Only took a few months to completely get rid of his pain.
Wow.
So it's life-changing when you deal with something like that. But I think that wreck is what started me going down that path.
Yeah. No, that's crazy. Whatever happened to the other guy?
Oh, the officer?
Yeah.
He did not really. I forget if I know he did not have any serious issues. I think he was put behind a desk for a while or something.
Okay.
But he actually was promoted a while after that. So I don't know. But he didn't get he wasn't seriously hurt or anything.
That's
since
wild.
He was the one who hit head on.
Yeah. But still, you would think it would do something. You're hitting anything at 100 miles an hour.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Well, I mean, you hit head on, and that's kind of the way the car is designed to if he had any serious injuries, I never heard about him.
Right.
He might have been knocked out like we were, but I didn't hear about him having anywhere near the recovery we did because he was back working pretty quick.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild. So is he still around, do you know, or?
Oh yeah, he's still employed. I think last I heard he's on medical leave for a separate issue.
Oh,
but
wow.
We won't get into all that.
Yeah, okay. I was just curious. Yeah, I didn't know.
The guy who hit us, he was a new cop.
Yeah, I would imagine. Probably
Yeah.
yes, learning, how that is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's not cool, but yeah.
He was learning too, so it's all right.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Well, so then that brings us to the next part of your story, which is basically a couple years later that's when you started Liberty Fitness, right? About 2015.
Yeah. And I started working independently as much as I could. A while after that, a friend of mine opened up a gym. I started kind of helping with that and training out of that gym. And I've stayed there for my in-person clients. I stayed there for the most part. And it's been a blast. I can't imagine doing anything different. My focus has changed a few times. Corrective exercise. After a while, I started focusing on helping men, even though I have plenty of female clients still. But yeah, the focus of that has changed. I just love the people I work with.
Yeah. So that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, that's a very interesting and kind of crazy story, but we all got good stories, right? That's how
Yes.
everyone's life is.
Yes.
So, no, it's really interesting, and how nobody really knows exactly what path or where they're going to go in life, but it sounds to me like just with your story, you're where you're supposed to be.
Oh, I love
And
it.
that's important. That's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there that still trying to figure it out. So
Yeah.
you're blessed in that department.
I'll be doing this until I die. So.
There you go. There you go. So let's talk about how does your business contribute to local community and the economy. I know you said you do like a lot of networking and referrals. So talk a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, the way that when I first started doing what I'm doing, I tried to network kind of normally and just try to, hey, let's reciprocal referrals, things like that. But what I figured out real quick is that it was mostly all about the relationships of the people I was meeting while networking. So I stopped focusing on trying to, build a business and started focusing on making friends instead. And once I did that, my network just kind of exploded. I love helping local businesses. I love getting to know people and getting to be the guy that people ask for when they need something. It's great. In addition to all that, there's a large men's group down in the Cincinnati area. Well, based out of there. It's a lot of it's online. But a friend of mine started this community of men that help each other with all sorts of things, whether it be character building, dating, relationships, finance, fitness, stuff like that. And we're all involved in this group. And this guy helped me with a lot of things in my personal life. And I love trying to pay it forward and help other men as well. So that's another.
So
route.
would you say that you're a male advocate?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
absolutely.
want to do this film thing,
Yeah.
Where I was like, this, and I'm still in the National Guard, and I'm, moving into public affairs and all that good stuff, which is like kind of the film realm of the Army.
Yeah.
But still, I think that in that moment when they're kind of breaking you down to your little essence, who you are, that's when I was like, I think I would just want to. I want to explore existence for a living. And that's generally what an artist does.
Yeah.
Not to sound like overly pretentious, but like that's kind of how I want to dedicate my life. Is making art and celebrating art, and I think that was
Just existing.
existing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's really great about having art in your life is that you get to not exist with like both eyes closed. You can exist with both eyes open, and you're always digesting things in your life, and you're hopefully as an artist you are displaying that in your art.
It's like being heard.
Being heard for sure.
Yeah.
And for me, like the cinema that I like are not cinema that like answers questions. I like cinema that asks questions.
Yeah.
And that to me is a great experience. It's therapeutic,
Right.
because life's hard.
Yeah.
It's a hard, and if you look at history, if you look at world events, like you're like, wow, life really is hard. But having art as an outlet, I think is super necessary. Even if you're just digesting art, you don't always have to be making art. Like I think everybody needs music. Everybody needs movies.
yeah.
Everybody needs TV shows. Anything that like you like to absorb throughout your day, everybody needs it. So. That's in the Army. It's where I really learned,
Right.
like, okay, I think this is what I want to dedicate my life to, in some way, shape, or form. So,
Right.
that's kind of where the whole filmmaking thing began. And of course, I went to school for it. I went to Bowling Green. I did film production there. And I graduated at the nick of time of COVID.
Of course.
Yeah, in 2020, when not only film jobs weren't available, but just like jobs were hardly available
Yeah.
to like newly graduated students.
Oh yeah, I mean it was just like a hole. It was
It was,
wild.
it was a hole, and it was tough going. I don't even think I remember all the things I applied for, let alone interviewed for. So it was an interesting time for sure. I was kind of a lost puppy. I was
Yeah.
like, I have this degree. I want to use it. But I don't know if that's viable.
Right.
And like, is it viable here in Dayton? Is it viable? Do I have to like move somewhere or anything like that?
Right.
So that was interesting, and it was after I actually interviewed for this one job in Dayton where I was going to be like their videographer and editor or whatever, and
okay.
I actually got it.
Oh, nice.
And well, you say that now, but the job ended up being a little interesting, to say the least. Like, it's hard to even describe. But it was so bad that I think I only worked it one day,
Oh, really?
one full day. And I
Wow.
was like to my wife now, girlfriend at the time, I was like, is it okay if I don't work this job?
Yeah.
Because this isn't working for me. It was just, it was absolutely not what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I was like filming like real estate, like, and it was for a home healthcare company that
wow.
shall not be named. It
Yeah.
was interesting. It was an interesting venture.
Do they still exist, the home healthcare company?
I don't know. I don't know if they do or they don't.
Yeah.
It's been a while, and again, they shall remain nameless because they're a local company, I think.
Oh, okay.
But interesting ownership. So I came home. I was just defeated. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm like, this isn't for me. Like, I don't know if anything's for me. So I immediately just like called up my one friend who I knew from a film internship, and she like produced a couple shorts and made a couple short films.
Okay.
And I was like, hey, do you just want to make a short film? Like let's just, do something, artistic. Let's try to stop with the whole like career mindset thing for a second. Let's just do something artistic, like on a Saturday night. Let's shoot a film. So we shot this film. It was called Funeral for Furmansky. Interesting
Okay.
name. I acted in it. I directed it. I wrote it. And it was a really awesome experience. Making any type of film is always fun. But this one was therapeutic for me, just being able to
Most
be
art
behind
is.
it.
That's
Yeah.
what I was, I've talked to several artists, and, the whole process of art is really a therapeutic ordeal. It's like, I gotta get it out. I'm doing something, I gotta get it out. And they do with
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is, with the film they make, or the painting they paint, or
Yeah.
the song they sing, they just,
Yeah.
whatever it is. And it's very interesting. I've never personally experienced that. I don't know how,
Yeah.
if I can.
You never know.
I would like to one day maybe get there, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But I hear it and I see it and I understand it.
Yeah.
I just don't know if I can do it.
I get, and trust me, when you step into the arena at first, you don't know if you can do it either.
Yeah.
Like I had no idea if I could direct a film. I didn't know, like you always hear about directors and like what their process is and everything, but you really don't know until you're on set.
Right.
And you're like, under the, the gun essentially.
Yeah.
You have to make something happen.
Right.
So that was a fun experience. And the whole experience of editing the film was a blast, and the screening of it was really what got me into like what we're going to talk about today,
Yeah.
with the festival.
Obviously, I knew if I shared that image, it would, there's always going to be people who don't like presidential candidates, no matter what
Right.
side or whatever. And I've never shared my own political beliefs. I've always kept that really private 'cause
Yeah.
I really haven't had any political beliefs. I'm very
Yeah.
I just haven't been involved in any of it.
Yeah.
I usually stay out of it.
Focused on art.
I am, but now that I'm a little older and wiser, I know it's important to learn about this stuff and
Yeah. Well,
have
it
a
does
voice.
affect us all.
And the older you get, the more it affects you. So I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, okay. I have some opinions. So, and I was so touched by that moment in history
Yeah.
of Donald Trump getting shot and
Yeah.
standing up and the whole fight, everything.
Honestly, like, it really is that picture-esque moment.
Yeah.
Like, it really was a interesting photo.
Yeah.
Like, it
well,
was,
and like I think of,
from an artist perspective, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
You're like, wow.
well, I just think like JFK, he didn't get that opportunity to
Yeah.
stand up after that.
That's
I
true.
mean, and also we're in a time where everyone has cameras and everything's being recorded. So had that gone a different way for Trump, that would have been catastrophic.
Oh, yeah.
Images flying around and everything. So that night I actually painted a canvas of that image. I was just like, wow, I need to paint this. It's just a way for me to express myself.
Yeah.
Art is very therapeutic for me. So I painted that. I shared it online. I knew I'd get some heat from people who didn't care for him. That was expected. I'm like, whatever.
You're right.
Well, the one of the business owners of the Atlanta Burlesque Studio, she saw that image and she commented on my photo and she's like, "Wait, you're pro-Trump?" And I said, like, "I'm just painting a moment in time, blah blah blah." I wasn't sharing anything. I am pro-Trump though, for the record, and I'm okay to say that. I'm not polarized by
Right.
saying that. So, and that I think that painting really bothered her. And I'm assuming, well, it's not an assumption, I know now, that she likes Kamala Harris, and that's great. We need to get to a point where it's okay to have differences, and
Right.
we can still do business with people, we can still be friends with people. It doesn't matter. It's okay. And it's just shocking where we are as a society today. Like, it's really sad. It's heartbreaking to see people cutting family members off, cutting friends out, cutting business partners out. Like, I've heard so many different stories, and it's such a shame. Like, we all want the same things.
Right.
We all want our basic needs met. We want to be able to put food on the table, have a roof over our head, have running water. Like,
Yeah.
just, help your neighbor out. Be a good person. So it's okay if we might lean towards one side or another. It doesn't mean you have to cancel people out of your life. So
Right.
anyway, the owner, I saw a Facebook post of hers shortly after that saying, she said some really harmful things about me on, well, I shouldn't say harmful. She said some very
Just, I guess you say mean.
not nice things.
Yes.
But inadvertently, she said something to the degree of, we're raising money to have a new mural painted on our building because we found out that the artist who painted our original mural has dehumanizing beliefs that are harmful to our community and whatever else. So I thought, I mean, it's paint over the mural. I don't care, but don't bring me into this. Like,
Right.
you're totally talking about me in a public way, putting words in my mouth that I have dehumanizing, like, whatever.
Right.
So I reached out to her and I just said, wow, like, I'm shocked. Like, we can talk about this if you want, but like, you shouldn't say those things about me. That's not
Yeah.
true at all. Like, I love everybody.
Right.
Any community you're in, I
Yeah.
love you. So I'm shocked by this behavior. If you want to paint over the mural, that's fine, but don't say that publicly about me.
Yeah.
Like, really?
Right. Well, now she's tying you in with a belief politically and trying to utilize this hate towards a candidate.
For monetary.
profit.
Yeah. That's where I'm like,
Like, whoa. You want to do that? If you want to get a new mural, fine. Say, hey, look, we're raising money
For a new mural. That's it. Leave it at that. So I'm like, well, the fact that you brought me into it, I will have something to say about it. And I won't be silent about this. I'm not just going to let someone publicly bash me and
Well,
just
yeah.
roll over. So yeah, I had my piece and it's all fizzled out now and stuff, but it definitely brought some interesting people out of the woodwork.
Oh, of course.
Definitely.
Lines were drawn. Shots were fired.
Yes, it was very interesting. It definitely shined a light on some people that I was very surprised about who, maybe went a different way,
Yeah.
which is fine. But yeah, I've just
I think it's really interesting how when people publicly say what they are, like it gets that like backlash.
yeah.
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 It's really interesting. So it's tough. It's the reason why I don't like talking about what I am either. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I do privately.
Yeah,
But,
yeah,
you know-
I've never shared anything before, but I've also never been educated at all in politics. And
Yeah.
now after COVID and everything, it's like I notice things, and I am a full-blown tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy all the way. I'd say I'm a seeker of truth. I
Right.
just want to know what's real.
Yeah, what's
and I don't
going
think
on.
there's anything wrong with that. To
No,
question things,
of
like
course.
to ask questions. So I don't think, and if that offends someone, that's your
Right.
problem. But
It's just sad that we live in a world where it's so hard to find the truth.
yes.
That's all it really comes down to is we want
Yeah.
to know the truth.
So I decided, okay, I graduated in 2003 in November. And I was like, okay, what am I going to do now? I could go teach, but I was like, I'm thinking about try law school because why not?
Yeah.
Why not go to law school? It sounds fun, right?
Yeah.
Why not?
Easy.
Yeah, easy. Spend $100 and some thousand and eat ramen for 2 years.
Yeah.
So I decided to go for it. And my wife, who was still my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, was pretty supportive. She was like, I don't know, she was teaching in Vandalia. I moved up to Lansing, Michigan, because Thomas Cooley, the school I went to for law school, they had a 2-year program. So law school is a 3-year program, but Cooley offered a 2-year program. Basically, what I did was I went year round and just put my head down and just grinded, which I think was probably the dumbest, yet best thing I've ever done in my life,
Yeah.
is just to grind, because that prepared me for the practice of law. I hear all these people, these other lawyers that are like, oh, I had so much fun in law school. I'm like, screw you. I had no fun in law school. I worked my tail off to, do what I did, but I wasn't in there to make friends. I mean, I had friends, but I was there to get
Yeah,
in,
you took
get
it
out.
serious.
So then I moved down here. I did an externship with the Wright Pat Air Force Base JAG office, which was really cool. They do everything there. I mean, they do contracts, wrongful termination cases, estate plans for people. They give advice, but they can never go to court for somebody. But we also did some court martials, so I got some experience doing some court martials and prosecution. I left there, took the Ohio bar in February of 2007. We got married in December of 2006. Took the bar, and luckily passed, because people are like, well, what are you going to do if you don't pass? I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to lose weight and be a dancer, or be a bouncer, or be a personal trainer again, or something like that. So I then left there, went into an office sharing arrangement here in Fairborn with a company called Berzine Law Office. There was an older guy, one of the smartest guys I've ever met. He was kind of deteriorating, but it's the funny story about that. It was, I go into this office, and this is 2007.
Okay.
Okay, they had one computer that was hooked up to the internet, and it was dial-up. 2007, they had dial-up, and we're trying to do legal research on
The old
dial-up internet.
56K.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was terrible. And I finally was like, and they were paying like $100 for dial-up internet.
Wow.
And so I said, hey.
But you know what? It's okay because they were probably charging like $200 an hour. So like the dial-up
Sure.
internet, think about that. Took them a long time.
But they were struggling. I mean, that firm was struggling. I mean, they really were struggling. I mean, they had just not advanced with the times. They were in a very expensive building. And so I came in kind of with some ideas. I think that they probably were like, who's this kid? I mean, why is he
Yeah.
coming in with these ideas of how to change the world? And I'm like, well, for $40,
Yeah.
we can all have internet.
Yeah.
And it's way faster.
And we don't have to worry about phone line.
And if somebody flushes the toilet in New Carlisle, it doesn't kick us off the internet. So, that was kind of fun. I was there for about 3 years, and then at that point, I decided to go out on my own. The guy who owned the firm was still kind of struggling. We kind of brought him out of the darkness, and but he was getting pretty old, and he was kind of starting to struggle. So I decided to go out on my own, and here we are. I mean, I don't know how many years. I think I've been practicing now almost 18 years, and
Yeah, I was going to say, do you know what year that was?
I opened my business in 2009, 2010. Moved into our current location. I remember that clearly because my son is 11. We moved in September, right before he was born. because my wife was teaching in Vidalia and got laid off
Yeah.
the day we found out we were having a baby.
Wow, that's interesting because I guess I didn't really connect the dots till now when you just said that. I started my business in 2010.
Yeah.
So we were around the same time period.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, I say I started practicing law. I mean, I started my business in the worst recession we had seen in 30 plus years.
Oh, yeah.
And, the housing market had burst and everybody was struggling. And so I just, put my nose to the grindstone and really just kind of I wanted to find something that set me apart, and that was that community involvement and just treating people well, and that I missed that excitement of not knowing whether we were going to be able to make rent that month or whatever.
Yeah.
But because luckily we don't have to do that much anymore. We don't have to be scared as often. We still do, but growing the practice, I think that was the as my dad used to say, pee or get off the pot kind of situation, right?
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I remember I was opening up in that time period too, and people were, all the vendors I was talking to were like, "Oh, what? You're opening up a store in this economy? Like, you either know something we don't know, or you're just crazy."
Both. Yeah. I mean,
it's
we're
a combo.
crazy.
It always is a combo.
Yeah, I mean, I had an opportunity a couple of years ago to go work in a large law firm. They were starting a white-collar defense program. It was an international firm, and so they were looking for somebody that had the department, and the pay was huge, but I would have been overseas a lot, and I was like, man, I got kids. I don't know. Finally, my wife, and I was like, but I was really wrestling. I'm like, okay, it'd actually be more than I make now, but not by much, but, I mean, just it'd be fun. I'd be all over the world just trying cases. And then my wife says, but you wouldn't be happy. I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, well, you'd probably end up throwing another partner off the 13th floor of the building. And I'm like, that's probably true. I probably would be, some partner would say something to me, and I wasn't going to go in as like an associate or anything. I mean, I was going to go in as a partner,
Right.
At some level. But yeah, I mean, they would have said something and I'd been like, all right, you're gone. Like, I mean, I haven't had a boss since, I haven't had a boss at Beck Law since, well, other than my wife, since 2010 or really, and even in my practice in Fairborn, it was eat what you kill. I mean, you were kind of autonomous. I mean, so I haven't had a boss since 2000. I mean, even during law school, since 2003 was probably the last time I had a real job.
Yeah, someone you had to report to and be like, yeah.
Right.
Follow to our Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, or your favorite podcast platform. Be sure to sign up for our email list and receive an email to watch the show. Wednesday at 8 a.m. Do you know a great Dayton business that you would like to see on the show? Visit our website at DaytonApproved.com and click on the Contact tab and tell us who you'd like to see.